Hi, I'm Andrew.
And I'm Sam.
And we're Envy Board Gaming. And today, we're going to be taking a look at the Quacks of Quedlinburg. In Quacks, players are going to be alchemists or, creating remedies using different ingredients in their pot and their cauldron, trying to make sure it doesn't explode. And whoever scores the most points is going to win the game. So let's take a look at how it's played, and we'll come back and tell you guys what we think. All right, so after you have set up a game of Quacks of Quedlinburg, it should look something similar to this. Now, I will point out before we get too far ahead of ourselves that I do have some upgraded pieces in this game, including the bags. I got these off of BGG and got rid of the old bags because the little corners, these are kind of a rounded bottom, but in the original base game component, it was a bag that had corners and the pieces would get stuck, so I upgraded to these. Also, these little containers that the ingredients are in, I 3D printed those, so those do not come in the base game either. As you can see, I do not have the plastic tokens yet, although that is on my wish list of something to get for this game. Now, let's jump into it. So in this game, each player is going to get a cauldron, okay? It will look a little something like this, okay? You'll have your cauldron with your little water droplet on the 0 space. Each player will get 1 ruby, and they'll get their little rat tail and flask on the filled side, okay? Each player will also receive their bag, and they will get 1 green token, 1 orange token, 1 3 cherry blossom, 2 value cherry blossoms, and 4 1 value cherry blossoms. Okay, so that will be all that is in your bag at the beginning of the game. Now, in this game, you are going to be pressing your luck, essentially. Every single round, you're going to be pulling ingredients out of this bag to put onto your cauldron in order to activate special abilities, earn victory points, get essentially money in order to buy extra ingredients, even get rubies, and essentially win the game. Whoever has the most points at the end of the game is going to win. I am primarily going to focus on the base game today. However, after I've explained the base game, I will show you and explain in slight detail the other 2 expansions for Quacks that is out right now. So let's jump into how it's played. First off, at the beginning of every single round, this game is played over a series of 9 rounds. At the very beginning of each round, you are going to flip the top card of the fortune teller deck. So, and this will affect all players. So in this instance, you'll choose to either take 4 victory points, or you will remove 1 white value 1 chip from your bag. Okay, so each player will be able to choose which one of those 2 options they want. After they have done so, players will then go ahead and start drawing out of their bag different chips. Okay, now you can do this simultaneously. They have different ones where people can just keep drawing and placing at their own pace, or each player can grab one, put their hand out, and once everybody's ready, reveal at the same time and place that way. Now, in the beginning, you only have the green and the orange, so it's a very good chance that you're going to be grabbing these cherry blossoms. And when you grab a chip and you place these out, the value is 2. That means it will move 2 spaces from your previously placed chip or your water droplet. So I would go 1, 2 with this value 2 cherry blossom. Then I would continue to pull. I got another 2. Okay. And then we would continue to go until someone passes, until each player either is done pulling by passing. This is a 1, so it'll just go right there. Or their cauldron will bust. There is my green, so that is a value 1 there. And right now, my cherry blossom is only at 4. Okay, now I am at 5, and I can keep going. Now I am at 6, I can keep going. Now I know all I have left are cherry blossoms, but let's say I kept going and I pulled this 3. So I had 2, 4, 5, 6, and then I placed this 3. I can go up to 7 without my cauldron exploding. However, as soon as I go over 7, my cauldron explodes, okay? And I have to stop pulling chips from my bag. Now, if I wanted to, let's say previously, when I placed this 1 chip, I didn't like the chip that I pulled. I can spend my flask in order to take that last one and place it back into my bag, okay? Now, you cannot do that if, let's say, I had that one still out there, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to keep going. I choose not to spend mine. I cannot then, when I pull this 3, spend my flask to put that 3 back. You would have to spend it before your cauldron would explode. So in this scenario, I would explode if I hadn't used it, okay? And once everybody has either decided to stop pushing their luck or that their cauldron has exploded, then what you're going to do is you are going to go through these steps here on the main board. So first, you're going to look and see who went the furthest on their cauldron. And that person, if they have not exploded, only the person that went the furthest without exploding will get to roll this dice. Okay? And you'll get the reward. This would be 1 victory point. You may get a ruby. You may get 2 victory points. You may get another pumpkin token. Or you may be able to advance your water droplet 1 space. Okay? So, after that, then you'll check and see if anybody's abilities from their purple, green, or black tokens that are on their board would activate. Usually the green one has to be the last token you place or the second last in order to activate that one. But I'll let you guys look at the different ingredients and their abilities that go with them. After you've done that, you will then see if anybody's space that they are on has a ruby. If so, they would get that ruby. Whether you exploded or not, you would still get the ruby that is present on the next space. I did not end on the space, however, I stopped here. I would have gotten that ruby for that space, okay? After we've given out rubies, then you're going to get the victory points as well as the essence or the money, whatever you want to call it, that you will be able to spend on ingredients. Now, if your cauldron didn't explode, you'll get both. You'll get the victory points and you'll get the money to spend, right? So that's great if your cauldron doesn't explode. Now, if your cauldron did explode, you would have to choose, do I want the victory points or do I want the extra cash to buy more ingredients? Okay, so let's say I said, oh, I'm not gonna take the victory points. I'm just gonna take the cash and everybody else gets victory points. Let's say they had, they all got 2. Okay, I'm still at 0. All right, once you've gone through that, then you're going to go ahead and you're going to be able to purchase those ingredients. And as you can see, there are a lot of them. And each one is going to have its own special ability. And they'll each have their own individual costs depending on which value you wish to purchase. So this will be the time when you will be able to purchase these ingredients. However, you will be restricted to certain ingredients, at least for the first few rounds of the game. So if you can look here, it might be hard from this distance, but yeah, I'll keep it there. I won't mess with it. But let's say right now I'm on the first round, so I cannot buy any yellow tokens, okay? And until the second round when they become available. In the third round, the purple ones will become available. But as of right now, they're not available. So in this first round, I can only purchase the blue, red, black, orange, or green tokens. The other ones will come later in the game. Once everybody's done buying and they're able to put all their tokens into their bag to reset for the next round, they will also get an opportunity to spend their rubies. So right now I only have 1 ruby. However, if I had more rubies, I could then spend these rubies in 2 different ways. I can either spend 2 rubies to advance my water droplet 1 space, or I can spend 2 rubies to flip my flask back over and refill it. Okay? So that is what you're going to be using the rubies for. Rubies will also be worth victory points at the end of the game for every 2 that you have. Okay? And you're going to be doing this 9 times. Every single round, you'll be flipping over a fortune teller card, and that'll affect all players. You will then be pulling out different tokens out of your bag simultaneously, however you want to do it. And you'll be scoring points and getting money to buy extra ingredients and kind of build up your bag. Now, one thing that is interesting in this game is that there is a catch-up mechanism. So for instance here, everybody, I'm going to clear these off. Everybody was on 2 victory points, right? And I had 0. As you can see on the board here, there are rats. And these are going to indicate rat tails, which are going to help with a catch-up mechanism. So when you get ready for the next round, you are going to look and see how many rat tails are between you and the leader. In this instance, there is 1 rat tail. I will then take my little rat tail token and I will place it onto my cauldron, however many rat tails I have between me and the leader. In this case, 1. So I'll place it on the next space in front of my water droplet. And then when I'm drawing, I will then begin from where my rat tail is. So if I took this 2 cherry blossom, I would go 1, 2, like that. And you'll continue to do this for 9 rounds. And at the end of the 9 rounds, you will be able to cash in. You will cash in. You'll get the victory points, obviously, like you normally would. You won't be spending. So for every 5 of your money, you will get a victory point. For every 2 rubies, you will get a victory point. Okay, so that is how the base game is going to work. Now, in order to show you the rest of the game, oh, and I should mention, just so you know, and I'm going to talk about this anyway when I go into the first expansion anyway. So I'm gonna clear out a little bit of this stuff, but each of the ingredients in the base game is going to come with 2 double-sided cards. So you're going to have 2 on one side, and then you're going to have extra ingredient cards as well to give you even more variable setup and more variable gameplay and strategy throughout the game. Okay, so that's base game. Now, let's take a look at the expansions briefly. Okay, so first we're going to take a look at the herb witches. Okay, so the herb witches is going to add a couple different things to the game. For one, it's going to add the witches. So at the beginning of the game, and I just dropped that. At the beginning of the game, each player is going to receive 3 coins. 1 bronze, 1 silver, 1 or copper, whatever you want to call it, and gold. Okay? And randomly, or you can just pick whichever ones you want, you are going to choose a witch for each of those coins. And these witches are going to give players a special ability throughout the game. And they will happen during different phases. Okay? And so during the game, I'm just going to throw a couple out there. You will have the option to spend your coins to participate in those actions. So for instance, if I did this one, during the preparation phase, if my pot has not exploded yet, I can return the last 2 white chips placed to the bag. So I can spend those, so long as my pot has not exploded in order to put the last 2 white cherry blossoms back into my bag. Okay? But that is obviously a one-time use, as each of these will be. Now, if you choose not to use these, you can save them and not use the special abilities, and these will give you extra points at the end of the game. I believe they're 1 point for each coin. Okay? So it adds that. It will also add a new ingredient to the board. Loco weed. Now, this is I believe, for the other expansion, but it will also come with different recipe boards for local weeds, so you get a couple there, and a number of recipe boards for the ones that are already in the game. It'll also include a 6 pumpkin that will be available, as in the base game there is no 6 pumpkin. They're obviously very expensive. And so that will replace your base game board of just the 1 pumpkin for 3. Okay, but you'll get a number of new ingredient cards. Also, the last thing that this will add is going to be the overflow bowl. Okay, so each player will have an overflow bowl, and the way that this is going to work is that when you are placing out your tokens, whether your last token would end on this 33 space, right? So if your last token were to end here or were to go beyond it, you would still stop your last token there on the 33. However, any additional tokens that are pulled will be placed onto your overflow board. Now, if they have abilities that affect the next token that gets pulled, they will be ignored, okay? So you will not do those abilities that may affect the next token that gets pulled. However, if you pull a cherry blossom, that will still count towards your 7 limit of whether or not your cauldron explodes, okay? And at the end of the round, you will first receive these, so you get the victory points and the money there, and then you will receive victory points based on adding up the values of the coins that are in the overflow bowl and divide by 2. Okay, so that is nice. It gives you a little bit more incentive to go beyond the end of the cauldron. Okay, so that explains the Herb Witches expansion. And then the last expansion to discuss is going to be the Alchemist expansion. So let me move a couple things here for a second so I can show that to you. You will need a lot more table space for this expansion, in my opinion. So each player at the beginning of the game, not only will you have your cauldron, maybe your overflow bowl, but you're also going to get this flask that is going to go at the top of your player board. Okay, and at the beginning of the game, randomly, I believe it's 3 of these will get placed out for players to choose which condition they want to try and remedy, work on, making a remedy for. Okay, each player is going to have a card for every single, sickness that you're working on, and you'll choose which one. So these are all the yellows cards, you got all the reds cards. Blue has one for every single condition, black, right, green. So you'll choose which one you want based out of the 3 that are randomly brought out, and you will take that matching card. So let's say, for instance, I took the Witch's Hump, and I am green. So I will grab the Witch's Hump token, and I will play, or the card, and I will place it here. Okay. Each player will then also have a little marker that they'll place on the 0. And the way that this is going to work is that they add a new phase to the game, which is called the Essence phase. Now, after you have placed out all of your different tokens, so if I had red, and let's say I had a pumpkin out there, or my green, and I had some cherry blossom, whatever it was, I had a number of these tokens out onto my player board, right? At the end of the round, but before we do any victory points or anything like that, what you're going to do is you're going to count up and see how many different colors you have in your cauldron, okay? And cherry blossoms do not count. So in this situation here, I have green, red, and orange. I would get 3. So I would go up 1, 2, 3. You would move up again if you have exactly 7 cherry blossom in your cauldron. You would get an extra 1. Here I only have 3, so I would not get it. And then You would also move up again if either your neighbor on the left or your neighbor on the right, their cauldron exploded. So I would get one more additional movement for each of those players. So if my player on the left exploded, I would get to advance. And if the player on my right exploded, I would get to advance again. Okay. Then you will get the reward. You will follow the tube down and you'll get the reward for the space that your token is on. So in this example, I would get to advance my rat one space. If I had some rat tails, I would get to move up. Okay? And that's how this is going to work. Each of these conditions are going to have different rewards and different cards, just kind of depending on what you choose. You'll be able to do that. And these cards, I should say, are double-sided. So you have essentially, I think there's 8 different conditions that you're working on here. And they each have their own little rewards. When you're looking at this, the rat tails and the victory points will always be in circles. If they have special abilities, they will always be in ovals. Okay, so that'll be something to know as well. And that just adds another phase for you to get more stuff, to kind of diversify your cauldron. You might not want to have just be going for blues and yellows the entire game. You might want to throw in some purples or some reds or some greens, because the more colors you have, the further you advance. And also at the end of the round, instead of getting these little abilities at the end of the 9th round, you will get victory point based on how far you are on your flask. Okay? So it's going to add that. And yeah, it's going to add a bunch of new cards as well. I should say that. They have little flask cards that they add. They also add cards for the Herb Witches expansion as well. So you'll have new cards depending on which expansion you want to play with for the Fortune Teller deck. And as you can see, it's going to take up quite a bit of space. And I don't think I mentioned, but with the Herb Witches, you can play up to 5 players instead of 4. But that should cover everything for the base game, as well as explain a little bit about how the Herb Witches work, as well as how the Alchemist expansion works as well. And that is Quacks of Quedlinburg. All right, so that's how you play the Quacks of Quedlinburg. So in this review, we'll be talking about the base game, as well as the Herb Witches expansion and the Alchemist expansion. So I know that's gonna be a lot to cover. We'll try to do that, relatively quickly, but I want to make sure we give our actual thoughts on every aspect of the game. So first, let's talk about just the base game itself. What did you think of the base game? Let's just talk about pros. Okay. And then we'll do all the cons and we'll lump those all together at the end.
Well, base game, the pros, I thought, it's a fun game just because it's exciting. You don't know what you're going to pull out. I feel like that makes it an exciting game. I also really love the rat tails. How if you are behind,
the catch-up mechanism
is pretty cool. I feel like that makes it fair. So yeah, I felt like that. I love the whole different ingredients too. The different ingredients get you different things. So yeah, I thought there was just a lot of different stuff going on in the game.
Right. It was relatively simple. I mean, everybody, reaches in a bag, pulls out their token, and I like that the replayability is really nice because each one of those ingredients has an additional couple boards or recipes that you can use, and that way you can change up the way they're done. Like if you do the I can't remember the names of all the ingredients, but like the blue one, I know our favorite is always being able to
predict the future,
which is what we always say whenever we play the game. It's like, I get to predict the future, and you pull them out and be like, oh, this is what I got to put down, or whatever it is. And so, but there's other ingredients cards that make it work completely different. And so, the same thing with the yellow ones that might help you from busting or increasing your limit for when those cherry blossoms come out, I think is what they're called. So I really like the different ingredients, and I mean, some of them you can't buy right away, but as you're playing, you will get to be able to buy them. And I like the fortune teller cards, and being able to possibly get extra chips or, try to go for a certain goal for that round. And so with that, yeah, I really like the push your luck. I think I do prefer in the game too. This is as a pro for me. I know everybody just kind of keeps pulling and pulling, like you can just keep going at your own pace. But I feel that, again, this is a game. I know I hit on this on some other reviews in the past, but this is a game I don't want to play with somebody that is shady, because you can easily be like, oh, okay, put that back. I don't want that. Oh, I don't like that one. And if everybody else is focused on their own stuff, I like where everybody picks one, and you make sure everybody's eyes aren't in their bags.
I feel like it's kind of better to do it that way too. It's more fun. There's more interaction if you're like pulling it out, putting your hand out, and then everyone's showing what they get.
Yeah, it slows the game down for sure, but I think it's a little bit more exciting. Like, oh gosh, please don't bust. Oh, and everybody else is like, yeah, I got this one. Oh, I got that one, and they like love it. And so I really like that. So that's a great pro of the. I will say one thing that I just preface this game is that you're probably, if you get it, you're probably going to want to upgrade a lot of the pieces. I've upgraded a couple little things. I still have not got those plastic tokens. Oh, but they're so expensive. It's like buying a whole nother game, and I really want them.
I thought about getting you that for your birthday last year, and I saw how expensive they were, and I was like, man, like.
And then I got to get new token holders because those would be too much. But anyway, just preface this that with this game, you're going to want to upgrade the bags. Like the bags, when it comes in the base game, those tokens are going to get stuck in the corners, and you're going to have a couple that are just sticking in there. And if you don't think about it, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I can never draw this 4 blue or 4 yellow or those really expensive ones, and they might just be stuck in the corner. And so you're less likely to be able to grab them. Yeah. Whereas if you buy the other bags, they're rounded at the bottom. There's no corners for them to get stuck in. It's much easier for you to be able to get to all of the tokens. And they're bigger. So if you're a guy who has big hands, those other bags aren't that big, and you're kind of like, it's a pain to grab those tokens. So, so I guess I would say that's a con for the base game. You're gonna want to upgrade them. You're gonna want those cards. I mean, we've played a lot, and those cards can get beat up, so you're gonna want to get sleeves for them. But I mean, that's with any game. But as far as component, those bags are horrible. You're gonna want to get different bags. Those tokens, I mean, you're gonna be sticking your hand in there and drawing them out and putting them back in, and I mean, those are gonna get worn down. So getting those plastic ones is eventually gonna be something I get, because I really want them, because this is, I'll just say now, I love this game, but it's something that it's going to be an investment to get it to be a good quality production of the game, I should say.
Right.
So talking about the base game, it's a really easy, simple game. You're pulling out bags, trying to not get the 7 or over 7 to bust. And then, you got the different ingredients you can buy, and each one of them can give you a slightly different strategy or help you to be able to go further in your cauldron, or, especially those green ones or those purple ones or those black ones that you get. You can kind of spend the purple ones to get different things, but those are really nice as well. So I really like the game. And so that's the base game. Let's talk about the herb witches. So getting the gold, silver, and bronze token, it adds the 5th player in the game. It adds the new token, loco weed or something like that, if I remember right. It adds more ingredients for the cards, or for the ingredients, which are awesome. Little recipe books. Really like it. Solid expansion. I'll just say that right away. Solid expansion. Really nice being able to spend those tokens. If you don't, they're points at the end of the game, but they let you do some really nice abilities. And I like that there's, again, replayability. It's not just one witch for each token. You have multiple cards for each token, and they each do different things to change up the game. And it can be like, ooh, I might bust, but I'm still going to get points and get the money in order to spend. or they're going to let you do all this one-time thing, and you just got to know, when do I want to do it? How do I want to do it? Or do I not do it and just keep the points, because I might need those at the end. And so yeah, I really like the Herb Witches.
I did too. I felt like that brought like a whole other edge to the game, because what I do love that they give you extra things, and everybody starts out with the 3 tokens, and then it's up to you when you want to spend them. So I mean, you could wait until the end of the game and then use them, like all at the end, or I mean, especially the one where if you bust, you still get your money and you still get your points, because that's huge in the game. Obviously, like if you keep busting, at some point, it's
right. If you bust, you have to choose: do I want the points, or do I want the money to spend to get more ingredients?
So you have to make that decision, like. Do I want to put more stuff in my bag so I have more chances of pulling out good stuff, or do I want to take the points? But you can't really, not take the points, because then eventually you're going to be so behind.
Right, but you will get the rat tails, which are nice.
Right, that does, I do like that part, really, in the game.
Right. So I think that, and I think, the Herb Witches is great. I don't have any negatives about the Herb Witches. I think it just adds more stuff, which is great, because that's what at the end of the base game I thought, man, more recipe books would be awesome, and then you throw in the witches and you throw in the new ingredient, and I really liked it. And they added the 6 pumpkin, if I remember right.
Yes,
which was really nice too, because they're like, ooh, that's 6, that's big, that's a good one. And so yeah, Herb Witches, all good. I don't think. Did you have anything bad about the Herb Witches?
No, I liked everything from that expansion.
It was good, and all those components. Again, I mean, you might want to get the upgraded plastic tokens for the ingredients. I mean, you definitely want to if you already have them for the base game. You can't have plastic and then cardboard tokens. Yeah. You'd obviously know what you're grabbing. But anyway, I mean, you'd have to invest in that, but that's totally up to you if when you buy the game. And then finally, the Alchemist expansion. Now, I'll go in and I'll say, playing with the Alchemist expansion and the Herb Witches doesn't add a ton, obviously, but you got the Alchemist expansion. You got a lot. I mean, you got your cauldron. You got the little pot to the side for if you go over the 35 mark, and then you got the top board with the little flask where you're kind of getting the. I think they're called like essences or whatever, but based on how many different colors you have, you're going to go up that little track and give you different rewards depending on, the ailment that you were trying to remedy. And so I thought that was really cool. I think it adds a whole nother phase to the game, so it does drag it out. I like the thematic point of the game and what it brings to it. I like that extra little bonus part to it, or kind of pushing, like, ooh, I want to get different. I want to diversify my bag. I will say that's something I really like that came with the Alchemist, is that you want to diversify your bag so you can go up further on this little track and get better rewards. Whereas before, someone might just be like, I don't want red. I'm just going all for blue and yellows, or I'm all just going for these. And, they're not really encouraged to diversify. Maybe they never even touch the pumpkins or whatever it is. Or based on the ingredients that are out there, you're only going to be going for certain ones. I think in this one, it encourages you to get more of a selection of different ingredients, which is nice. But, I mean, you do have a giant, player board now, because you put all that together, and there's a lot there. And it takes up a lot of table space. I mean, it's good. It's good. And I really enjoyed the Alchemist expansion. And so, yeah, I really liked it. The one con I have about the Alchemist is I think, I don't know if I've been playing it wrong or anything like that, but I do feel like some of those ailments that you are trying to remedy are better than others.
Yeah.
I do think that if you go with certain ones, the rewards are much better than other ones are. I don't think... I think that you'll get into that case where some games, or if you play with people, they're going to know which ones to avoid, and they'll take other ones. But I think that you experienced that in the past when you were like, oh, I shouldn't have taken this one. And it didn't really work out as well as you thought it would. And so that would be my only negative, is that it's going to drag the game out. That's going to be longer because you're adding that extra phase. It's going to be, there's a little bit, I think, of an imbalance there, at least from our plays, that some of those little ailment cards that you're going to be going for, they're going to be more, there's going to be ones that are better than others. Overall, I like it. I think thematically it fits. If you don't mind the game being a little longer, then it'll be good. But, it doesn't necessarily need it. I think you could easily get Quacks and Herb Witches and be fine there and stop.
Yeah.
But if you're wanting a little bit more and something a little extra, Alchemist is out there, but I don't think you need it.
No. I think that was my negative too, just on the Alchemist expansion, was them, like, certain ailments being better than the other one.
Right, just the rewards.
The rewards from them. Yeah, because you're picking the ailment that you want to cure, but definitely that was the case when I played, where I was like, I feel like my stuff just isn't as good as yours. I mean, it had its own, like, perks, but yours was definitely stronger. I don't remember what the other one was that we didn't, neither one of us chose, but yeah, that would be probably, like, just my negative. With the Herb Witches expansion, there was nothing I could think of that for me was a negative. Right. I like that one better, just because I felt like it was more helpful.
Right, it was just more stuff, more ingredients, more little ability, didn't add a lot of time to the game. The Alchemist one does. It does add more to it. It's not bad. I think it's good. I don't think you need it.
Yeah, you don't. If it's something extra, you just want to add just because you want.
Right. If you're just like, I want more Quacks, I just want more, then that's going to give it to you. You're going to be like, oh, wow, hey, that's cool. I'm making this, and this is going to help me get these extra rewards. But I mean, overall, it's not. I'm totally fine with not having it in the game.
Yeah. Didn't it give you, like, more of the one flowers too? The loco plants, or didn't you just get more with the Alchemist expansion?
You mean like the tokens?
Yeah.
I think they just gave you some extra tokens.
Yeah, so you just get extras.
Yeah, but the big thing is just that player board and that flask add-on that goes onto your cauldron. But I mean, yeah, it's not needed. It's fine. I think if you just get Quacks and you get the Herb Witches, you're set. And then spend that extra money you save from Alchemist to buy all the upgrades.
Yeah, save it for the bits, the tokens.
Right. But I liked Alchemist.
And some bit bowls.
It gets to the point to where it's almost like, it feels like it's a little too much. Not that it's harder, but it just feels like the amount that you're adding to the game isn't necessarily adding that much fun to the game.
Yeah.
I guess I should say that. I like it, but I don't need it. I can get it out of it.
Right.
So overall, let's do rating. I'll do my rating first, if that's okay.
That's fine. So
I still really I love this game, and I to me, base game, it was a solid 8.5 right there. You add in the Herb Witches, it's easily a 9. And the Alchemist, I keep it at a 9. Alchemist doesn't hurt it any, doesn't take it up any. But to me, this is a great game. This is one of my favorite games, easily in my top 20 at the very least. Quacks and Quedlinburg, always love that push your luck anxiety feel. Love it. I love the replayability. I think that's one of the best qualities I look for in a game is, am I gonna get my money out of this game, or when I play it, am I going to just feel like I'm doing the same thing every single time? And here I can feel like I can go a different route and try different recipes and do different things. I like that, and I think with the Herb Witches, it just adds a lot more. It's definitely worth buying, especially if you like Quacks. Alchemist, take it or leave it. It doesn't really affect it for me that much. I mean, it's more. it's more time and not necessarily adding that much more fun to the game. It's just, but I mean, Herb Witches just adds more replayability, and I think those special like little tokens that give you those like little one-time powers, that might make the game even go a little bit faster. If you're able to do points, and just makes things maybe a little bit easier, I guess, not necessarily faster. But Alchemist, it's okay. It's okay. That's all I can say. So 9 for me, 100% 9. Great game.
I think I'm gonna go with a 7.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's fun. It's not like I would rate other games higher.
Okay.
I do like it because I feel like it's easy to just, when you don't have all the extra stuff, like it is easy just to pull out and play.
Okay.
And it can be fun and kind of like, just like it can be kind of anxiety driven, but it is cool that you get to pick your own ingredients and how you want to do it. So I'll give it a 7.
Yeah.
It's still a really good game.
I definitely like it more than you. I guess I thought you liked it a little bit more than that, but maybe not.
Yeah, I was sitting here thinking, I was like, I was trying to compare it to other games that I've rated higher than a 7. And I'm like, or around a 7.
It's a 9.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not much for push your luck games.
Because you always push it too far.
I'm just not good. I'm not good at push your luck. I don't gamble.
She's like, you know what? I'm gonna go for it. Nah, I should have stopped.
Yeah, I should have stopped. I'm not much for push your luck, and yeah, that's why I don't gamble, because I don't want to lose my hard-earned money. But yeah, I think it is fun though. Yeah. I do. I really do like it. So yeah, if I thought it was terrible, it would get less than a 7.
Right. So that is Quacks of Quedlinburg. 9 for me, 7 for her. It's definitely a 9. But anyway, check it out. So also, please give us a like, comment, subscribe, click the little bell icon so you get a notification every single time we post a video. And let us know what you think of Quacks of Quedlinburg. What's your rating for it? I know, right? Right. It's crazy. But anyway, let us know what you think. Tell us your favorite push your luck games. I'd love to know what other ones are out there that maybe we should check out and see. I'm going to be going to Gen Con next month, so I'm excited to maybe try some games I haven't before. So yeah, let us know what you think, and we will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.
See ya.